Welcome to Unleashed Opinion, boldly challenging the powers that be while keeping liberals in their place with conservative ideals and common sense solutions.
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Unleashed Opinion. We are back once again. Got Bob Smith here with me this evening.
I didn't go anywhere.
He didn't go anywhere. Big thank you out to our men and women in the armed services doing what they do, keeping us free and safe, putting their lives in harm's way for you and I. So,
Absolutely. First responders, military law enforcement, as always.
that armed services, that includes you too. So,
Hey, you know, I mean, it's fun. Sometimes.
sometimes, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Big thank you to John for putting up with us every week and making everything go as smoothly as it does. So, greatly appreciate it. Our listeners out there, you're the reason why we're here. You guys out there in the garage in 125, you're awesome. All righty. So what should we get to first here?
It's got to be good.
It's always good.
It's got to be good.
It's the Unleashed Opinion. It's always good.
That's right.
Let's see. In Forest Lake, I believe it's Minnesota, if I remember correctly, the city council had decided to get rid of their city police force. Well, there's a lot of people in town didn't like it. In fact, the students at the high school, the local high school there's about 1,000 of them protested this decision. And what they were going to do, they was going to do do away with the local police force and have the county sheriff take over. Well, the students didn't think too much of that. And like I said, there's about 1,000 of them that protested that, and the city council reversed their decision. We got a little video on this, so.
That sparked outrage for voting to ditch its local police, now doing an about-face. This is an update for you. Leaders in Forest Lake, Minnesota, approving a new contract with the town's police force, changing an earlier decision to save money by using the county sheriffs instead. The move coming after 1,000 high school students walked out of class to support the cops. One of the students and a council member joined us on Fox and Friends last week talking about the positive impact police have on their community. Take a look.
It was gigantic, and it was also student-led. It's a great story of our students being in touch with what's happening with our community and supporting law enforcement.
23 officers will now keep their jobs.
That is awesome. These students come out there and know what an important role these officers play in their community and in their lives, keeping them safe so they can sleep well at night without having to worry about these clowns breaking in and doing stupid stuff.
And you know, something that comes to mind with that is when you look at communities and how they do, you know, stuff like that. You're going to tell me that you have to cut police officers? You're going to put the burden of the entire county on the county? You know, I mean, could you just think if every small town in Cass County just dumped their local police and they put it all on
the county officers.
the county? How many of those is there? 7 or 8?
Not
maybe?
very many. Yeah.
So you'd have guys that were, it would not work.
No,
Absolutely not work. And I'm sure there it was no different. So I'm glad to see that out of all people that came out, that it was young people. Students.
Yes, people that were in touch with reality. Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, we're going to think ahead of what's going to happen, you know, over the next 5 minutes.
Right. But that is, you know, like the gal said, these kids are in touch with reality, and she is absolutely right.
Oh, sure. You know, I mean, it's kind of a rarity nowadays.
Oh, you ain't a kidding. I'm really glad to see that.
For sure. We need more of it.
You betcha.
Plant that seed.
There
we
you
need
go.
it to grow, you know, like a vine.
There you go.
Across the entire country.
Good deal. So you got an article there on people?
I have an article. There's a Spark. I don't know what that stands for, but they raised $60,000 in Springfield this past Saturday, and this is how they did it. They went to the Abraham Lincoln Doubletree Hotel, and they had people rappel 130 feet down the side of it.
Wow.
I don't know if anybody that's listening has ever done any rappelling. It's awesome, and I would highly recommend that you give it a try. And I would definitely rappel down the Abraham Lincoln Doubletree Hotel.
Yeah, and I think the way they raised the money is the people that repelled down the building there. I think they got some sponsorships. They had to raise about $1,000 per person, I believe.
Okay, all right.
If I remember reading the article correctly. But yeah, that's pretty awesome. And Spark, what?
They're a nonprofit dedicated to enriching the lives of people with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
So they're helping people in the community.
Sure, people that deserve help.
Exactly.
There you
Exactly. Right on. Hit the nail on the head there.
Because I think, as we know, there's some that don't.
Right.
And was not in support of the clowns that don't. This is 100% for people who deserve some
Who
assistance.
are not very fortunate. So
Yeah.
that is awesome. Also, last weekend in Springfield, they had the 10th annual Fat Ass 5K, and I wrote down run, but it's not really a run. I'm not sure if that's what the article. I probably did that just out of habit because you hear about these 5, 10. It's a run. Well, this is more of a walk, a meander, because you go through a series of through downtown Springfield, and there's entertainment on one corner. You might go to another corner where they have ice cream and donut holes, a little bit of beer, some corn dogs, and you go on to something else, and you might have a little entertainment there. So it sounds like a pretty good time. It sounds like something I ought to do.
It sounds like Beale Street or Nashville, Fort Collins, Colorado,
There you go.
some places like that.
But the director, Brent Leach, said they're likely to raise $150,000 donated to various charities, and you can see these charities that they donate to on fatass5k.com. So this is, like I say, the 10th annual time they've done this. They said they had 3,500 to 4,000 people this year. The first year they had 350 people. The second year they had 950 people. The third year they had about 1,800 people. And there's 500 volunteers to help put this on.
Damn.
That's pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
I
I'm gonna
wonder.
have to do that.
Yeah. Now here's something that you have to ask yourself: did the volunteers get free beer? Maybe that's how they got 500.
Could be. And a couple corn dogs to go with it. It's going to be an awesome day. Oh. Let's see. We've got another video here. This, and I forget where it's at now. A 14-year-old graduated from college.
Yeah. Now that's absolutely incredible. I seen something a while back of it was like an 8 or 9-year-old girl that was speaking a sentence in 12 languages.
I have enough trouble with one.
Right. So
One sentence and one language. It doesn't matter.
I mean, 12 languages, graduating college before you get your driver's license.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I've got a little video of this, but one of the videos I've seen on there, he's got an 11-year-old brother, and he's got a double major, and it's incredible how smart these kids are. Let's take a little clip. Let's take a look at this clip here and see what we got going on.
Building blocks of the universe. He has earned a degree in physics from TCU, and did I mention he's only 14 years old? Joel Thomas live tonight to take it from there.
And when they hand him his diploma here Saturday, he will also set a record as the youngest ever graduate from TCU.
What we do first is
Most 14-year-olds are learning to navigate the halls of a new high school. Carson Huey Wynn navigates the intricate world of quantum physics on a college classroom whiteboard.
eventually going into research and teaching after graduate school.
Huey Yu will graduate TCU with a bachelor's degree in physics Saturday. He was 10 when Professor Magnus Ritby took him under his wing. Initially, did you have some reservations about...
Yeah, of course I had reservations. I mean, I'd never seen a 10-year-old apply for college.
The age difference is something Huey Yu is accustomed to. After all, he started 8th grade at 5 years old.
Well, it's no different than really what I'm used to because I was around it all through high school.
And that acceptance came with more than classwork, as a 10-year-old had to learn to manage himself maturely.
I tried making it work both ways. That is, being mature about the academics, but still being able to be a kid.
Well, I have Cannon, my younger brother, so we play together a lot. And I have a puppy named Klaus, so he likes to run around and he's very energetic.
It's not surprising that in a world of formulas where age is not a factor, Huey Yu never thought that he could actually earn his PhD when other students his age are graduating high school.
It's kind of surprising, but then at the same time, it's really cool.
Carson's younger brother, Cannon, is graduating this week as well from high school. And Cannon will come here to TCU, study physics and astronomy. He is 11 years old. Doug, Caleb?
Wow. I cannot imagine.
I don't have anything to say.
That's pretty awesome.
Well,
I
yeah, it is.
can't imagine being that intelligent. Hey, that's pretty crazy.
I missed the memo on that one.
Hey, hats off to these guys.
Oh, sure.
They're
no
out
doubt
there
about it.
doing great things, breaking records in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome. Okay. Did you happen to see Miss USA the other day?
No, but I heard about Miss USA the other day.
Mhm. They asked her whether she thought that healthcare was a right or a privilege. And she said it's a privilege. And I agree with her. And here's why. Because a right is something that you are granted with that does not infringe upon anybody else. Okay? Freedom of speech. I can say anything I want to or not say anything I want to, and it doesn't affect you. Well, you might not like what I say, but it might hurt your feelings, but that's about it. It doesn't take away anything from you. It doesn't injure you. Let's go with the Second Amendment. I have the right to keep and bear arms.
The only way that affects you is if you do something stupid.
Right. And with every right comes responsibility. But yeah, my right to carry a weapon does not infringe upon you. I'm not taking anything from you. I'm not harming you.
Right.
Unless you decide you're going to harm me, then I have the right to. But we know that story there. But so rights are something that you have that does not infringe upon somebody else. When we talk about health care, and people say, well, it's a right. People have the right to have health care. Well, first off, I'm pretty sure it's not in the Constitution anywhere.
No.
And health care insurance has not been around forever, so I don't know where you come up with the idea that's a right. And here's the other thing that makes me think that it's a privilege, is that if you don't have health care, whether you decide to not have it or you can't afford it. Let's say you can't afford it, but having health care is a right. So in order for you to get health care, now you have to infringe upon my livelihood to pay for it.
Right.
That to me means it's not a right.
Well, right, and you know, it's the ideology. It's the basic ideology that I think you're describing there.
Mm-hmm.
So it isn't, you know, and everybody wants to get to something particular when you talk about this subject, but it really is the ideology that, you know, I think is the main factor that we should pay attention to when we come to arguments like healthcare. Because, I mean, where is it a right? You know, I mean, it'd be like me saying I'm going to drive a car. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I mean, so the service that my car needs, if I'm not able to do it myself, is provided to me at a cost.
Right.
It's not my right. Well, it's not my right to drive to begin with. That's
true.
A privilege.
That is a privilege.
So, you know, when it comes to everything that comes along with that, you know, that's the services are available at a cost. Now, I can choose to you know, take advantage of it, or I can choose to not take advantage of them. You know, but either way, you know, it doesn't. Regardless of what I choose to do, I'm not going to infringe upon you. I'm not going to go beat your door down or take money out of your paycheck because, you know, I need something that I can't provide for myself.
Right. So therefore, you know, and here again, if you decide you don't want health care, you have an accident, you're taken to the emergency room, and you decide, well, I didn't want health care insurance, therefore these people aren't getting paid. Well, now you're infringing upon their livelihood also and everybody around them.
Sure.
So as far as it being a right, no, I disagree. I agree with Miss America on this one. It's a privilege. Yeah. And she is also I had it written down here somewhere. She's a nuclear chemist. She's not just just another pretty face.
You know, I mean, you think, you know, a physician, a doctor, they generally, most of them have a PhD or higher. So they go, well, you know, doctors are overpaid. You know, what does that doctor actually make? Do they make good money? Absolutely. But think, they have, I'll bet you that they have a minimum of $500,000 in their education, at a minimum.
Sure.
Not, you know, that's not to include their insurance and all the maintenance and upkeep. You know, you think as a physician with everything that's happening, they're probably at school multiple times per year.
Oh, absolutely. You have to, because technology is moving so fast.
Sure.
You'd have to go retrain.
Yeah. So, I mean, don't think for a second that these guys sit at home and relax in their armchairs every evening. Because that's probably not the case.
It's all consuming, I'm thinking. And, you know, you hit upon just the liability insurance these people have to carry. It's astronomical. I cannot imagine what this stuff costs.
Yeah, I mean, I know of, some people that are not in the medical profession but are PhD or PsyD holders that have malpractice insurance for the psychological side, and I know what that costs, so I couldn't imagine what it is for somebody that's doing surgery or something like that where they could really cause harm if they do make a mistake.
Right. And we don't want them to make mistakes, and that's why they should attend as much training as they can that would benefit them. So, but as far as healthcare being I don't think so.
No, I disagree. And people can demonize me for saying that or whatever. I just don't think it is right. It is definitely a privilege. It wasn't the person's right to go and train for that. They done it for not necessarily for themselves. I can think of a lot of other professions that a person could go do that is a lot less noble than that, where they could probably make the same amount of money or more
with less overhead responsibility.
Absolutely.
These doctors and nurses that you see out there, I cannot help but think these people are a lot of these people get paid some good money, but you know what? That's pretty much a selfless act because they've dedicated their life, their training to helping other people.
Yep. For sure.
It's going to cost you some cash, but you know what? That's what they chose to do, and more power to them.
Yes.
So, in my mind, healthcare is a privilege, not a right.
I agree.
Let's get on some more stupid stuff. Let's beat on Donald Trump for a little bit.
All righty.
The other day he came out. Of course, if you watch any of the press releases of Donald Trump's people out there, they take a beating from the press.
Oh, absolutely. They always have, and they always will.
But this one, during this administration, seems to be a little bit worse.
It is. There's no doubt about it.
So Donald's getting a little tired of it, and I don't blame him. So he comes out and says, you know what, I think maybe we'll just do with the daily press releases, and I'll just put out a memorandum or something along these lines periodically, and then I'll do a press release once every 2 or 3 weeks. I'll do it myself. Got to disagree with him on that one. The press is there for a reason. The press is there to let the people, the voters, you and I know what our government officials are doing and the laws they are passing that affect us. If you're going to do with press briefings, that means we've lost contact. And if you're going to put out a memorandum or whatever the case may be and tell us what you're doing, where you're wanting to go with this thing and what's going on, you're only telling us the things that you want us to know. We don't get the opportunity to ask questions.
Yeah, that's what I was going to hit on, is the people lose the opportunity for accountability.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That just compounds the problem that we already have, in my opinion.
Sure.
So, will they tell? I like Donald Trump, but when it comes to will him and his people actually tell the truth? They're politicians.
They are.
So, we like to think, that they would be honest with us and stuff. Come on.
Well, we've seen the Clintons in office.
Sure. So, it's I don't agree with doing away with the press briefings. I do think that the media are a bunch of, you already know, especially towards this administration, because right now it's not cool to be a conservative. We haven't got past that anti-everything or anti-establishment ideology yet. But I think eventually it'll die down a little bit, especially when we start to see some progress in the right direction. But as of right now, there's a lot of frustration that comes with it. Trump says that the media treats him differently. I think they do.
I agree with you. I think that they're brutal to him and his staff.
Yeah, and is he getting tired of it? Sure, I would be too.
Now, to defend the press a little bit, they should be tough on them, but these people are over the top because the press is our link between us and the administration. They've got to ask the tough questions, but they don't have the right to brutalize these people.
No, but it's a tough spot. Because if you think they're allowed to do that, which they are, but from their point of view, liberalism and this movement or all the drama that came about the last 8 years is the bane of their existence.
Oh, yeah.
So They have to do something to keep that going. And they're willing to cut any throat. They're willing to, do whatever it takes to keep everybody, whether it's one side or the other, in somewhat of an uproar. And when they lose the ability to do that, they're going to be chasing their own tail.
But you know, there's a lot of positive things that Trump is trying to get done, and a lot of times he's his own worst enemy. The other problem he has is he's not communicating with his communications people. They'll go out and say one thing, he'll turn around and tweet something else. They're not talking to each other.
There's a little disconnect there.
That or he's just moving a little bit quicker than they can keep up sometimes. Because this guy, I don't think he sleeps. he's doing something all the time. But you know, there needs to be better communication between him and the staff. The press corps, keep asking your tough questions. Don't brutalize the people. Okay, their job is tough enough.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, I remember these same people saying how brutal we were with Obama when we weren't half as brutal with Obama as they are to him now. So it's just it's a ploy. It's ridiculous.
It's pretty sad, actually.
Well,
because we're all supposed to be on the same team. We played a clip last week about Hillary. She's going to be part of the resistance now.
Yeah,
so,
I remember
well,
that.
Good for her.
The resistance, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The resistance to what?
Apparently Donald Trump and conservatism. So
okay, so all right, so that's a completely separate argument.
Yeah, one would think that we all be wanting to go the same direction. You know, good jobs for starters,
what'd you say
national
during,
security.
Yeah, what did she say during the campaign? If Donald was to win, I would stand behind him 100% as the president of the United States. We're going to do that by being a part of the resistance.
Wow.
I remember her saying that.
Well,
I was in Annville, Pennsylvania, at flight engineer school, and watched it on TV.
Yeah, am I glad she's not president.
Oh, no kidding.
Jeez. Oh, good God, can you imagine where we'd be at by now?
Nowhere good.
No.
Or not headed anywhere good.
No, we'd be looking at a healthcare system that would not be sustainable.
No, I mean...
For starters, we wouldn't have... border security would not even be talked about. Terrorism would be something that happens over there. You know, it's because it doesn't affect us today, so we're not going to address it. You know, just...
Mm-hmm.
And here again, we need to have free college tuition, free health care. Hell, we may as well throw in free cars for everybody every other year, too. Might as well. I mean, crap.
I mean, there's already phones, right?
Oh, yeah, we got some Obama phones out there for a while. I forgot about that. It's super. Glad we paid for that, too.
Yeah, it worked out great. Our national deficit showed that it was the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. So one of the things Donald Trump is getting hammered on here lately is Mike Flynn, which, you know, they talk about he was in the Obama administration. They say, well, they hired Flynn when they knew he's under investigation. So under investigation doesn't necessarily mean that you're guilty of anything. And he's also under investigation during the Obama years too, when he was there. So,
well, that doesn't matter until now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter till now.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because Trump's the clown in the room these days. So, and Obama was the highly educated smooth talker. So,
yeah, yeah.
So you look at Flynn and I don't know. It's just one thing after another with these people. And here again, Trump a lot of times is his own worst enemy. He fired James Comey as well he should have. And then Comey comes out and says, well, I've got memos that I took from conversations that the president and I had, and he asked me to drop the Flynn investigation, so on and so forth. I seen today, in fact, just right before I came out here to do the show, is that he was on video on May 3rd, about 2 weeks ago, saying that nobody has ever pressured him or asked him to drop an investigation. So which is it, James?
Right. Yeah.
Which is it?
That's why he's fired.
Which is it? Make up your mind, because you can't have it both ways.
Right. Yeah, but that's politicians. Yep. And we see it all the time. I'm glad that he's gone, honestly.
Now we've got Mueller. Robert Mueller, is that his name? He's the special investigator now. He's been around a while. And both sides seem to be pretty happy this guy's in there. What I would like to see, we've talked about it before, if you're going to look into these Russian allegations on how they influenced the election, or who had contacts with who, and so on and so forth, what deals were made, look into everybody.
Sure.
That includes Trump, Trump's administration, Hillary, Hillary's people, which we already know what kind of stuff they've.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
brought up again today where Hillary gave away 20% of our uranium to Russia. So I don't want to hear about how Russia or Trump's colluding with Russia. John Podesta, Uma Aberdeen, Hillary's chief of
There's
staff.
a good one.
Look
She
at all-
seems to have dropped off the radar.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Uma is a problem.
Along with her husband, Anthony Weiner.
Yes.
The name, yeah, okay. But if you're going to look at it, and by all means do, if there's something out there, if somebody's doing something wrong, we, the people, need to know about it and hold these people accountable for it because they work for us, not vice versa.
They seem to forget that on a
They
daily
forget
basis.
that a lot. So I don't have a problem with investigations. I think I don't know how many entities already looking into this stuff already, but now we got a special prosecutor. Both sides seem to be happy with this guy. Okay, I'm good with that. But here's the other thing is these other entities who are doing this investigation, y'all need to talk to each other. There's no need to investigate. You don't go through the same paperwork for each entity who's looking into this. Talk to each other just a little bit, please.
I guess it depends on who's paying them. I honestly
That's
think
true.
that's where their funding is coming from is going to dictate their level of communication.
You're probably right. But, and here again, if there's something going on that's not supposed to be, we, the people, need to know about it.
Sure.
It doesn't matter who it is. I don't care. If Trump's dirty, get rid of him. If Hillary's dirty, by all means, get
Oh, we
rid of
got
her.
decades of evidence on her. There's
we're-
not even a question about that.
No, there's not. So, that being said, speaking of Hillary, there's a guy who was murdered last July. His name is Seth Rich. And there is a private investigator by the name of Rod Wheeler who is looking into this stuff, and he claims that there's tangible evidence on a laptop of a former DNC staffer that confirms he was talking to WikiLeaks prior to his murder. The private investigator suggests Seth Rich was killed July in what authorities have called a robbery gone awry. But Rod Wheeler, a former D.C. homicide detective and Fox News contributor, go figure, is leading a parallel investigation into Rich's murder. Wheeler told Fox 5 D.C. that he believes there's a cover-up and the police department may have been told to back off the investigation. The police department nor the FBI have been forthcoming, Wheeler told the station. They haven't been cooperating at all, which I understand that. He's a private investigator. They're only going to tell him what they want him to know.
Yep.
He said, I believe the answer to solving his death lies on that computer, which I believe is either at the police department or either at the FBI, and I've been told it's at both places. He says, no, we don't have it. The other guy's got it. So there's something going on. If you can't find it, you're not a very good investigator,
Sure.
okay? And then also, here's another thing, is why is the FBI involved in a murder investigation?
Because they have interest in it.
Why would they have interest in it?
Because something happened that shouldn't happen
Well, they seem to...
at the federal level.
Well, a lot of people seem to think that this DNC staffer, this Seth Rich, had access to sensitive DNC memos and so on, was killed because he was talking to WikiLeaks. So just maybe it wasn't Russia.
Oh, okay.
So maybe it was somebody in the DNC didn't like what was going on and wanted it to come to an end. I'm just throwing this out there because I don't know. That's why we have these investigations. But it seems odd that the FBI is involved in a murder investigation. Okay, the guy's a DNC staffer. Okay, you got this laptop computer of his. Where's that? You guys don't even seem to know. So how are you going to find anybody?
They know.
You bet they know.
Yeah,
they
there's no
ain't telling us
question
about
about that.
And it doesn't seem funny that the WikiLeaks things reflected bad on Hillary. So it made Hillary look bad. Debbie Wasserman Schultz lost her job over it. That's unfortunate. Donna Brazile gave questions for the debate to Hillary prior to.
Yep, that was almost 100% proven.
Yes, and then you've got during this investigation with the emails, you got Bill on a tarmac, and I forget, was it Arkansas?
Well, he had a nice conversation.
With the Attorney General.
Yes.
And then shortly after that, James Comey comes out and says, well, she did this, this, and this, and it's punishable by this, this, and this.
But we're not going to do anything.
We're not going to do anything. Okay, so if if this guy had something to do with those leaks, and now he can no longer leak anything else,
Add him to the list.
add him to the Clinton machine list.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, there again, decades
Decades of stuff on not just Hillary. Bill's right in the middle of it too.
Oh, sure. You know, he's not wearing clean shoes, I promise.
Oh, God, no. God, no. But it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. And I hope Rod Wheeler, if it takes him to get to the bottom of it, I hope he does.
He'll disappear.
Oh, good point. Hadn't thought about that yet.
That's why nothing ever happens with stuff like this.
It's food for thought there.
Yep. Careful.
You ain't kidding. Yeah, the Clintons are nobody to mess with.
Mm-hmm.
They raced right up there with that clown they're celebrating in Chicago.
Yeah, right.
You know what? We're out of time again.
Holy cow.
Once again. Hey, folks, thanks for turning on and tuning in. Remember, if you love your country, if you love your freedom, thank a veteran. May God bless. We'll see you next time.